And we're back. Hello, everybody. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime and another day in paradise. How's everybody doing today? Good to see you. Happy almost Friday. Y'all know that I love almost Fridays, right? Man, this week was going by fast. I was sick at the beginning. Now I'm ready to take on anything, and Friday's coming. All right, guys, we have another case that absolutely needs our attention. All right, I see you guys in chat talking. Some of you guys have never heard of this, others may have. However, as I was putting the episode together today, I realized she needs more coverage. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So let me say hello to you guys, and then we're going to get started. I also want to thank the mods for being here to help out. Sint has some votes going on today, double votes today. Please vote for her daughter. All right. Go double vote. Do it. Let's help her out. Let's help her win. Hey, Teresa or Teresa, I don't know how to pronounce it, but we'll call you Teresa. How you doing? Good to see you. Kel's in the house. Deb, how you doing, Deb? I hope you're doing well. Foxy's in the house. What's up, Foxy? All right, guys. Again, you guys know that there are many people spending several hours and days on the Nancy Guthrie case, which I can rightfully do that as well. I'm not going to crap talk because I found some interesting stuff that I wanted to share with you guys today. And I said, no. We're going to cover 12-year-old Eve Rogers, who was found dead in her bed in her house. Stepdad was arrested after, but not for the murder. What really happened is what we're going to talk about today. And this case has layers to it, guys. It's crazy that the layers just keep unfolding. All right. I mean, at first would be a case of, hey, this beautiful little girl woke up in her bed and she was dead. We don't know why, what happened. We need toxicology and we need the medical examiner. Right. So it starts from that, and then progressively up until this week, we've got search warrants out there. Stepdad as the perpetrator. He hasn't even been charged with murder. Why, you ask? Well, because there might be other people involved. Oh, you're going to ask me another question. Hold on. Where was her mother? How did her mother allow that? Guys, there's a lot to talk about today, and I'm here for it for you. So thank you, Tiff, so much for helping me get this episode ready today. I could not do this without you. There's so much to all of these cases. Cole and Chris is in the house. Good to see you, my friend. Always glad that you're here. It's a pleasure. All right, guys, we want justice for Eve Rogers. And when I tell you what happened to her and why, you'll agree. So, everybody set in? Everybody good to go? We're right on time. Let me start with this. To say you should really go over to Ghost and sign up. It's free and you get a ton of news that doesn't always make the Guilty of Crime cut for a video. All right. So over here it gives you a good idea of what Guilty of Crime is working on. If you go to ghost.org, Guilty of Crime, or you could do the link here, Control C. Maybe you guys can, the mods can drop a link. This is our other page. This is our true crime page that almost daily we have new cases. I'm absolutely going to cover the Ashley Janae case. What happened to her? This is the death that was with her fiance. She's a lifestyle influencer and they look all happy and cuddly, but she turned up dead. That needs coverage. And then we see, I was going to do Sandra Birchmore today, but that one is really layered. So I didn't want to get to that today, but you guys get the idea. When you look at this page, you see what happens. Also, if you need coverage of a case, right? So for instance, here, updated information on the death of Eve Rogers. So we're looking at that. We're reading it. If you're signed up for Ghost and you see what we're working on, it's another good way to be able to get your stories out there. So if you're like, Jay, I really need some coverage of this, but I'm just not there yet, I can't cover it because my caseload, you can always reach out to me or to Tiff, and we will get you, probably to me, then I can get to her. We will get a case put out there for you about what's happening. All right. So it gives you more coverage, and you're going to hear about a bunch of things that you don't hear on Guilty of Crime. Small human skull found during Easter egg hunt, right? Grand jury returns indictment against Anna DeMegilu. I can't even say her name. Sorry. Justice for Athena Strand, which you guys all know too well. This is the trial that's happening right here, right now. Now, if you were signed up for Ghost, it's completely free. You can always upgrade your membership so you can get documents and, files and things that aren't available. But most of it's free. So if you want to support, please do. This is our version of Patreon. All right, we don't have Patreon anymore. Patreon kicked us out, and they kicked me to the curb. They said, we don't like Guilty of Crime. She's too vulgar. She wants to see the truth. She doesn't want the edited version of a damn picture. I want all of the picture so I can see it for myself. All right, what's up, True Crime Files 67? Kathy, go sub up to her if you haven't. Mama Pearl made it just in time. Yes. Hi, Mom. Thank you. Love you. Mama Pearl was with Baby Guilty, and they did a little bit of shopping. All right. Thank you, Mom, for that. By the way, I appreciate you. MM Clar. All right, Jen's Gypsy, Mama Sage. Everybody's in the house, so let's get to it. Again, go sign up for Ghost. There's no reason not to. All it will do is keep you on top of things. Also, today I pinned the link to the top for the RSVP to Crime Con party at the Bellagio. All right. So take that RSVP soon if you're going to go. We're not charging anything. Patricia's handling that out of the kindness of her heart. We're going to have a party at the Bellagio on May 30th at 6:30 p.m. Music, food, drinks, open bar. Come on, in Las Vegas, baby. I'll be there. All right. And if you're questioning what days you want to go, if anyone's questioning what days you should go to, I'm going to the 2 days on the 30th and the 31st. So I hope to see all of you there. All right. If you have a book of mine, you should definitely bring it. I'll sign a copy. I'll try to buy some too and bring them so you guys can buy them from me there. What's up, Wolfpack? Good to see you, my friend. Clementine. No, there's no cocaine included, but we do have a lot of Red Bull on stock. All right. Maybe if you caught me about 25 years ago. But no, that Clementine, bad girl. Just kidding. Michelle Marsh. Hey. All right. So let's hop into this. Let me do this. Let me just give you a quick rundown, and then I'm going to show you each individual, show you the social media. It's wild. All right. This is in Connecticut. All right. Horror in Connecticut. I'm just going to read this because it's a really good short piece. Eve Rogers, she was found lifeless in her room, and now her stepfather is accused of abusing her. That's the CSAM part, okay? On the morning of March 18th, 2026, Eve Rogers' mother, noticing that the girl wouldn't wake up, had to use a butter knife to force her door open to her room. Now, upon entering her room, her mom found her little girl face down on the floor without vital signs and with blood in her mouth. Now, trigger warning, guys, because this whole case is very much like the Madeline Soto case. It's graphic. It's graphic AF. So please, and also I put my goal up there if you guys want to get a membership, gift a membership, what have you. That would be awesome. I don't think this is going to get in the algorithm, although I'm going to try to get it there. Yeah, major trigger warning. All right, so as I continue, listen, guys. So they found her face down, blood in her mouth, near her body. Police found mysterious pills, a rose, and another with white powder whose contents have yet to be revealed. Now, when the officers removed a blanket that was covering Eve's waist, they discovered she was naked. Immediately, the sexual assault protocol was activated. Weeks after the tragic discovery, the results came back from the sexual assault kit, and it was confirmed the worst. Her stepdad, Anthony Federline's DNA matched the samples taken from the girl's body. Now, a chilling detail is that the forensic analysis revealed the presence of genetic material from 3 different people on the victim. Did you just hear that? She had 3 different people's genetic material on her. Some speculate that it was her brother also assaulting her. Others speculate that this monster, Anthony Federline, was pimping her out or trading her services for what she has. 3 different people touching her with bodily fluids. Right? Yeah, you heard me right. That's the right answer. Clark, thank you for getting that started, my friend. Choo choo. Hit that like button. Let's get to that goal so we don't have to do this. And then I'll say, nope. All right. So listen, guys, this is messed up. You hear my phone? Somebody's calling me. Ice, baby. Come on, people. Stop calling. I have to turn it off. All right. Anyway, sorry about that. Thank you, Clark. I appreciate that. This is terrible, sickening, and there's multiple people's DNA, 3 different people on the victim. All right. Now, guys, Federline is just one of them. That's her stepdad. And he is arrested now, but he's arrested for CSAM and opening up the terrifying possibility that other predators were involved, which means that he's pimping her out, trafficking her, or lending her to his friends. Now, guys, this is in Connecticut, and the community's outrage is total upon discovering the accused double life. And when I say Federline has a double life, you gotta stay tuned because he has an alternate life. 2, in fact, and I have the perfect thing to talk about what he does versus what he's being charged with. Clark, thank you. Flojo TV. Okay, hit the like. Did you? Thank you, buddy. Thank you so much. And go over and sub up to Flojo. I was watching him last night. Awesome. Love you. You know I love your voice. So I think your voice put me right to sleep. Not because I was bored, but because I was tired and your voice is soothing. All right, I'm gonna turn this off because people want to keep calling. Okay. Yes. Hello, Flojo. Now, listen, guys, Federline ran a channel, and we're going to get deep today. He ran a channel called Grounded in Mercy. You ask, what is that? Well, he presented himself as a Reiki guide, guys, a Reiki guide, an energy healer, and a tarot reader. You guys heard that right. He charged up to $33 a month for his memberships. Now, guys, he uses the terms angel numbers 111. For a month, you can get $33. For a year, you can get it for $333. I mean, this guy is on Front Street to the fullest. So when we're talking about yesterday, Annie Guthrie, and we're talking about Annie and her knowing about energy and being into Wiccan and having this energy or thing around her that we talk, this guy actually is claiming to be that as well. But he's claiming to be a good witch, so to speak. Right now, he's promising divine connections and shadow healing. What does that even mean? He spoke of peace while allegedly destroying his stepdaughter's life. Now, incredibly, he worked now, here's another kicker. He's a bus driver. And when we listen to the press conference, guys, in the press conference, they say we have nothing to worry about. Everything's okay. But for 2 weeks, this monster was out there still working and driving a bus full of kids. All right. A scammer is far from it. Oh my God. But yes, thank you so much, Lady for Justice. If you receive that membership, please thank her. Now, look, guys, He's a Reiki guide, an energy healer, a tarot reader. He follows angel numbers and he'll give you divine connections. Well, incredibly, he also worked transporting children right up until the day of his arrest. Now, he did not get arrested when Eve was found dead, not at all, not even a little bit. Even after Eve was found dead, he continued driving the school bus for more than 2 weeks while police investigated the case. Now, guys, he's still trying to make bond, but I want you guys to realize this. They are saying that Eve was autistic. Here's two big character traits: autistic and homeschooled. So they pulled her out of school so that she could be homeschooled, aka be abused, CSAM, sexually abused by multiple men. But they say Eve was autistic, loved cats, and was homeschooled, making her completely dependent on those who were supposed to protect her. Today, her voice has been silenced, but justice is the only just beginning. That is her stepfather, and that is the beautiful little angel, Eve Rogers, that needs our help to get this out there. All right. So may she rest in peace. Not only did she lose her life, but she also was sexually assaulted by multiple people. 111. That's how many people are in chat. Please say a prayer that Eve gets the justice she deserves. Now, I want you to see that picture because that's not what she looks like anymore. She was a little girl. She's 12 now, which is still a little girl, but much more grown up than when you see in this picture. And this monster is the same across the board. I'm going to show you everything I got. All right. I'm going to throw everything at you but the kitchen sink. And I want you, well, first let's show the perpetrator, and then everyone's going to say she does look a lot younger than 12 there, and she is. But you look at that picture of Anthony Federline, or Federline, however you say it, 39 years old, Enfield, Connecticut, school bus driver, stepfather of Eve Rogers. He's over there hugging her right on the couch when she was little. Now, he's criminally charged with first-degree sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor. DNA evidence is linked to Federline and the victim, but there are also other DNA matches that haven't come back. All right. So he hasn't even been charged with the fact that she has passed, that she was dead in her bed. All right. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. That's him trying to be stepfather of the year. And then you ask, where's the mom? Well, the mom made a statement for everybody, and let me just read it to you before we get too far in, so that when you say, where's the mom, you know where she is. Now, her culpability needs to be looked at as well. Yeah, it's an old picture that they put, but don't worry, I got new pictures, and it's all covered. When you see there's new pictures everywhere because he has a Facebook, she has a Facebook. When I say she, I mean her mom. Let me pop this on real quick just to show you something. Since we're talking about the mom anyway, let me show you this. Hold on. First, I'll show you this. Check this out. So this is this is Kevin Federline, the perpetrator that allegedly took her life and raped her. All right. Yes, another stepdad. Oh my God. Now look, check this out. We're looking at Facebook right now. This is Kevin or Anthony. This is Anthony Federline. There's a E missing. This is Anthony Federline's Facebook page. And that's her. That doesn't look like her, does it? That's Eve, guys. That's how she looked up to most recently. Actually, this was in 2023. So I got to tell you, she's got to look older than that by now. Mystic Artistry North, welcome. How you doing? Good to see you. And it's that 420 time, huh, Foxy? All right, so you see the stark difference between her being a little girl and her growing up and being great probably for years. Yeah, I know. I said Kevin Federline instead of Anthony Federline. I did do that. Thanks, Clementine, for calling it out. Appreciate you. All right, so this is his Facebook. And who we're talking about right now is Anthony Federline. Now, he has nothing on his Facebook at this point but a kid sleeping in his arm and the daughter that he was allegedly raping. And guys, those may be his two kids. There's a Brian Federline here. there's a possibility that these two kids might have had their DNA on her and doing that as well. Again, there's nothing else on his page. He's kind of just one of those guys that has a fake book with a dumb tattoo. And can you guys still see the screen? I just kind of wanted you to see what it looked like. And then what does this guy think he's a tattoo artist now? What's going on here? I don't like these tattoos. They're whack. Get away out of here. All right, so this guy's a monster allegedly, and we're about to find out exactly what he did. Right? So it's interesting. The only pictures he has up of the girl that he's graping and two other children that may be involved in this. All right, there's a possibility. Now I'm going to get down to that and go back to talk about the mom. There's the mom. This is her mom, and this is her stepdad. Melanie Federline is her mom. All right, so let's go back to this page so you can see her Facebook, and then I'm going to read the statement. I'm assuming that those kids right there are her stepchildren. Now, I want you to remember she had 3 DNA samples of bodily fluids, so to speak, DNA on her from 3 males. One of the males matched Anthony Federline, but we don't know about the other children yet. Yeah, they're real developed at that age right now, Wolfpack. I'm telling you. Baby Guilty goes to school with 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and they're twice as big as me and really developed. All right. Yes, Christopher, thank you for the 420 membership in honor and memory of Christopher, gone way too soon. All right. She looks like a child, but remember, she's the same age as Madeline Soto. She's a little bit younger. Madeline Soto's forever 13, and she is forever 12. All right. So you can see her here. And then that's her mom's page, Melanie. Melanie, where were you while this was happening? Now you could see October 15th, 2025 was the last post that she had. There's another picture with her, with the baby girl. All right. So I just want you to kind of see the pictures. Those are not up to date. That is not what she looks like at all. All right. So I'm imagining there's other children. There she is again. I'm imagining there was other children also doing things to her. And I'm talking about the boys. All right. So Melanie Federline, I hope she's not another potato, because it could be another potato, guys. How did she not know? All right. Yes, thank you. I love you guys, and I love your input. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. You have a membership, Kathy. But if you want to send me a Cash App, or you want to just do a super chat, I will also gift memberships. I don't know why. All right, let's continue. Oh, it's definitely a face filter, but what I'm trying to say is this another Jen Soto? She also looks like she's balding. She looks like she's heavily balding. Maybe she's one of those ladies with not a bunch of self-esteem, just letting the guy do what he wants to her daughter. I can't understand that. So Melanie Federline, that's her mom, and Anthony Federline is her stepdad, which you can see was raising her for a long time. All right. So most of the stuff is after she passed, because she passed in 2026. They found her dead on March 18, 2026. All right, in her room. Now wait till I tell you the circumstances. Now we're gonna get into the circumstances, and we're gonna get into what her mom has to say. All right, so July 2nd, 2024. Happy 16th birthday. You've taught me so much. Yada yada yada. These people seem like they're the children that are with her on a daily basis. And I'd love to know how many people live in that house and what the circumstances are. All right. I do believe that they were investigating, because there was a, what is it called? DCF investigating of the death of Eve. So they actually, the Department of Children and Families testified on the Senate bill before Legislative Children's Committee on Tuesday, March 3rd, about homeschooling families. All right. So right before this happened, that was set into a bill. Let me pull this down. I just want to show you this real quick. That's how things get moved. That's how things get moving. What's up, Kim Wells? Thank you so much. I do appreciate you, and I appreciate that. All right, and thank you for that, Lady for Justice. Much love, Kim. Kim Wells, thank you so much. I appreciate you. All right, so again, autistic and homeschooled. Those are the two excuses that we hear so very often, right? Right. Okay. Now you know the mom. That's the mom with the pedo stepfather. And how many other boys or men were also raping her? That's what I want to know. All right, so there's not a lot here. I mean, you kind of see who she is. She's posting memes, and it looks like she's concentrated around her family, but I can't understand how she didn't pick up on her daughter being fully, in my opinion, raped by this man or this monster. He's not even a man. All right, so let's get back to the mom. I'm going to read this and then we'll talk about everything else. DCF investigating the law that just got put in March 3rd about, guys, what do we always talk about? Homeschooled kids and how much danger they're in because nobody checks on them. The parents check them out of school, and guess what? That's it. They're gone. So the Department of DCF, right, is investigating the sudden death of this 12-year-old little girl, Eve, who was found unresponsive on Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. All right, so they're investigating that right now, and they also responded to the 911 call that found 12-year-old Eve Rogers dead. The news report says her mother tried to wake her up, like we talked about, and couldn't. And the cause of death, guys, isn't even out there yet. We don't know. It's an undetermined thing at this point, and it still is. It was immediately not apparent, but we still don't know now. All right. Now, police obtained a search warrant to permit a full and complete review of the incident. And after that, they went back, and boy, did this guy get what was coming to him. All right. So now I'm going to pull myself down so I can read this to you. All right. So Eve's mother did make a statement. I haven't seen much of her. I would love to interview her if she wants to clear her name or her conscience. Come on, Eve's mom, Melanie. She says, now that we have a minute to gather my thoughts, I feel like I need to say some things clearly. I've seen people trying to connect Evie being homeschooled to the idea that school system failed her. That is not true. The Enfield public schools showed up for her in every way they could. Homeschooling was not a result of failure. It was a decision made for her individual needs. BS. That's me. Now she's saying the Enfield public schools have been nothing short of incredible. They showed up for her when she was there, and they continue to show up for our other children in ways that truly matter. And homeschooling did not fail her either. What happened has nothing to do with that. But what we do know is whatever happened was something within her. What? And that is the only truth that we have right now. Are we victim blaming here right now? I hear a little bit of victim blaming in here. Okay, so they said it's her, in her, and I do not want her story to be turned into something it wasn't, says her mom. She was not a failure of the system. She was not a victim of homeschooling. She was not a headline or a talking point. Well, what do you want, lady? She's dead, and your husband is in jail right now with a huge bail that he's never going to get out from. Now, she was the most incredible human I've ever known. This is her mom still talking. She's loved deeply. She cared about the world in a way that was almost too big to carry. She felt everything. She hated seeing people divided, fighting, pushing each other into boxes, forcing beliefs onto another. She lived that fully, unapologetically. All right. At her core, she wanted people to be happy, to feel loved, and to be free. That is what she would have wanted. And to those of you who have shown up for us, who've supported us, helped carry the weight of this, and reminded us how much goodness still exists in the world. Thank you. It matters more than I can ever fully express. Well, boy, she sure left out a bunch of stuff about having a pedo stepfather and multiple DNA from several different males on her daughter. What? I think this is the opposite of what happened to Eve. What is going on here? What's up, Bratty Little Me? Good to see you. And Crazy Jane, how you doing? Thank you guys all for the gifted memberships. I will gift some memberships in a bit when I'm not reading. Robini, good to see you. Another potato. I was waiting for that. I was so waiting for that. All right, so that's her mom. Melanie, you met Melanie. We need justice for Eve. And now we're going to get into Anthony and what he did and who we might have thought he was, but not even close. Now, let me show you his YouTube channel real quick. We're not going to spend too much time because when we get into the episode, there's more of it. Guys, this is his YouTube channel right here. Grounded Fire Sanctuary. All right. According to him, he's a good guy, right? He helps people and he does angel numbers. Look at him. He's reading these cards. This guy's crazy and he's evil and he's a pedo. All right. So Reiki message. And I mean, this guy is just, now that we know who he is and what he does and what he did, it's hard to even look at this and say, what's going on here? Let me see. Let me just get the, capture the essence of him talking. Let's see what he says. Hold on.
Is root and air. I used our grounded fire chakra deck, and I love this card because root chakra talks a lot about your survival instincts, primal needs, stability, and then combine that with air. That's a lot of your thoughts. So you've got physical and then you've got thoughts. And in this image, this is a tree figure who.
So what about your thoughts? Are your thoughts imagining what you're going to do to your daughter or what you just did to your stepdaughter? Because you're full of shit, guy. All right. This guy is just unbelievable. And he's got a page set up that says, for $22 a month or $33 a month or $330. I'm like, this guy is a disgrace to humans. All right. Look at this guy. He doesn't deserve anything. He needs to stay locked up.
It doesn't matter. This is a safe space for everyone. Whatever it is.
What a good guy.
Let it out. Let me have it.
Oh, I want to let.
I know it's not aimed at me.
Oh, it's.
So you're not going to bother me with it. You're not going to offend me.
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to hurt my energy either, for those that may worry about that.
Oh, we're going to hurt your energy. If I had a shotgun, I would probably hurt something else a little bit lower than that.
Once I begin the Reiki session, I will have a little bit of background music, more so for myself, to help me stay channeled in that.
Channeled.
I hope you guys enjoy it just as much.
Boy, he's got the key words down, doesn't he?
Venus.
What a evil person.
Another moment, let you guys get out whatever it is you need to get out, or send to me energetically as Alvin does. It's all welcome here.
Let's just send all the bad energies.
Don't you worry about me feeling drained or anything of such, because I've already done a brief session for myself before coming on tonight.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I'll get some.
I'm so glad you did a brief session. I hope that it hurts real good, mister. All right, let's get into it, guys. We're going to start off with, because this story has evolved. All right, this story has absolutely evolved significantly since she was found dead. So let me just find that clip and then we will get started. All right, here it is. Here's where we start off. And again, guys, this happened all in 2026. All right, we're starting from the beginning. The date of discovery: Eve Rogers, age 12, found unresponsive in her bedroom, March 18th, 2026. All right, the investigator observed lividity and rigor mortis already, and the blood fluids from her nose, and the body was naked from the waist down, with the blanket covering the lower half. The investigator noted that it was an unusual circumstance and halted further investigation pending the forensic work. They knew with the way she was set that she was being assaulted. Well, they had a suspicion. Now, probable cause scope. Investigators stated that they had probable cause to seek evidence related to the murder as well, and risk of injury to a minor. right? So they got a search warrant. I'm not going to tell you yet what happened, but I will tell you Anthony Federline, who's 39 years old, is now locked up because his DNA matched one of the DNAs collected from Eve Rogers' body. All right. So he's charged with first-degree sexual assault and risk of an injury to a minor. Medical examiner's final cause of death is pending. And you know how that goes when it's a child. So let's go.
Bed yesterday in Enfield. Tonight, there are still more questions than answers.
Police forensic teams were at the home for more than 8 hours, but the chief says it is still not clear if a crime took place. Your reporter, Katie Cohen, has been talking with the girl's mother. She is joining us live in Enfield with those details. Katie.
Well, Aaron and Mark, Melanie Federline says she went to wake up her daughter Eve yesterday, and that's when she found her dead. She says tonight the family is looking for answers just as much as this community. Filled with passion, justice, and light.
And guys, we're going to see a lot of pictures of her, different ages. This was not her at 12, but she is a beautiful little angel. No, they did not move the body, Mo. I think she was just graped right on the floor. And I think that they were drugging her, to be honest with you, because they said they found pills, some white powder, and other things. So we're going to get to that. She was in her room, face down, with no clothes on the lower half. Investigators said something's not right. Let's do this. And Bree, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Hello, J Mods and Crime Crew. I do appreciate you. I know. Like I said, it's another case of Madeline Soto, guys, and not sure it was a crime. Exactly. Just wait. We just got started.
That's how family members are describing 12-year-old Eve Rogers. Her death has shocked people in Enfield. Lois Burble has a 12-year-old granddaughter. She says hearing about another young girl in her community suddenly being found dead is heartbreaking.
My heart went out to the little girl. And it's sad.
Enfield police say Eve's family called 911 and are now talking with officers. State police are also helping. A forensic team was at the home for most of the day Wednesday.
The capabilities and the skill set of the folks on the Major Crime Squad van, it's very technical and it's very forensic in nature. So out of an abundance of caution to make sure that a scene is processed completely and properly so that one does not find out in hindsight that it was necessary to process a scene after it's too late.
The chief medical examiner says her cause and manner of death are still pending. We've also learned Eve hadn't been in school since the 4th grade. She was withdrawn in 2022 for.
Again, the fact that mom almost victim blames and then says the school didn't fail her. No, but you did, Mom. And a lot of other people did. All right. Bratty little me's voting over there. You guys vote away. Hey, Joanne, how you doing? Good to see you. Just can't hit shit. Daddy Shark. I can't hit shit. Can someone make an extra vote for me? I can't vote. You guys are having too much fun talking about votes in chat. All right. Let's continue. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, but wait, there's more. Nobody got arrested. Nothing happened. They took her body. They went away and they didn't hear back for weeks.
For homeschooling, the superintendent said in a statement that although she wasn't enrolled in public schools at the time of her death, the loss is profoundly felt throughout our town. Counselors are available at schools for Enfield students and through the town for anyone in need. James Gilbert grew up in Enfield. He wants to know what happened and why.
What happened to her, why it happened, was she sick, was she not? The only thing that we can do is just pray for the family.
Now, I want you to remember this because as far as it goes right now, if I didn't tell you, there's just a little girl that's been found dead in her room and we don't know the cause. All right. So we watch this and we go away for a couple weeks. And then when we come back, I'll show you what's next. All right. That's what's happening in this case. Hey, Allie, good to see you from San Jose to Stockton. Stockton's crazy. Yes, he's a disgusting pedo. I agree. What's up, Just Josie? Good to see you. It's been a while. All right, let's continue because there's a lot. This is the first layer.
And just hope for the best.
Eve's mother, Melanie Federline, says she'll remember her daughter as the sweetest, feistiest girl you'd ever meet and wants to know what caused her to lose the girl she says lit up her life. Police stress there is no threat to the public at this time. We did reach out to DC.
Please notice that there's no threat to the public at this time, except for the next 2 weeks, this monster is going to be driving your children around on a bus. If he just gets an itch that needs to be scratched, well, there it goes. There's no threat, though, to the community, guys, all right? Nothing at all. Nothing here to see. Let's continue. What a freaking monster. That's the epitome of a sheep in wolf's clothing. A wolf in sheep's clothing. I say it backwards for me. I actually have a tattoo of that. I'm a sheep in wolf's clothing. I look all scary, but I'm not. All right, let's find out. Now, we came back 2 weeks later. We've been patiently waiting to see what happened with Eve. And here it is, 2 weeks later.
And a community really in mourning for weeks. And tonight, her stepfather, who had access to other children in town, is charged with sexual assault. Your reporter Owen Kingsley is live outside the Enfield Police Department with new information. And Owen, you also have some reaction from neighbors here.
Yes, we do. We'll get to that in just a moment. First off, 39-year-old Anthony Federline, he was arrested just last night. Some neighbors even witnessing it. Again, we'll get to that in just a moment. Now, he is the stepfather of Eve Rogers.
Now, this is how it all kicks off. And no, Allie, listen, Stockton's just a crazy, city. Nothing wrong. You can avoid the things. But whenever we pass through Stockton, I'm just a little bit scared. Especially when I have to stop for gas. Just pick the right gas station, all right? Raw beanie, missing DNA we don't know yet. No threat here. That's what I'm talking about. Gray Goat, do you know the Madeline Soto story? That's a heartbreaker. And that's what this is feeling like right now. All right, Federline name is killing me. I'm here, Jay. Too many monsters. I know, Janet. I know. Thank you for coming in. Hit that like button. All right, now we come back 2 weeks later. He's living his best life on the bus, driving kids, making money, being a Reiki energy healer. And then this breaking news.
Who was found dead in her home last month. Now, this newly released arrest warrant, it's giving us some new disturbing details in this case. Since March 18th, the town of Enfield has been mourning 12-year-old Eve Rogers and questioning what happened inside that room. Today, some clarity as her stepfather, Anthony Federline, was charged with sexual assault and risk of injury to a minor. Pills were found in the room, and investigators say other evidence prompted a sexual assault test kit to be performed. Police Chief Alaric Fox confirms Federline's charges stem from their investigation into Eve's death.
It's very disturbing.
However, he wouldn't confirm that Eve is the alleged victim Federline is accused of assaulting.
That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy that they won't confirm that. Now, after this, we're going to go into the quick press conference. It's only about 8 minutes, but I tell you, it is full of information. All right. It's very full of information. We watch out for those, right? We live for press conferences so we can get the most accurate information. Hey, KCC, good to see you. I seen you in someone's chat earlier and you were saying hello. Gray Goat Jay has the entire story on video. Oh, yeah. The mother was involved and was never arrested. You got that right, MM Clar. There's probably 500 videos of all of that. All right, let's continue. We got a lot to go through. Don't let this mom be the next Jen Soto. I agree. And that's why I need your help. Thank you, Synth. I need your help because we have another potato of a mom, one that does nothing and doesn't even protect their children. We'll see.
There are certain statements or certain connections that you might wish that, owing to the fact that we're dealing with a juvenile victim here, I may not be able to make those connections for you publicly.
Federline worked as a bus driver. The contractor he worked for, Smith Bus Company, provided bus service for Enfield Public Schools. School officials confirming Federline was fired today. Arlie Dosick is one of the many in the small town heartbroken by what happened. She says her husband saw police at the home last night when Federline was arrested.
It's just so sad. I know everybody had hoped that it wasn't going to be something this tragic.
A mother herself to a young daughter, Arlie saw Eve Rogers playing outside the home in the past.
I saw her outside a couple times, just a couple of times.
Doesn't it seem like she was surrounded by a bunch of men and boys? When you see her in the pictures, it's like her and then a bunch of other guys, right? Don't tell me another. Yes, another nasty potato. I'm telling you right now. That's what I got to say about that. Her mom didn't protect her. How did she not know? Yeah, they do get worse and worse, but they're all there and they need coverage.
But I didn't realize they had any other kids there.
Police say 6, 9, and 17-year-old children also lived in the home. They couldn't provide specific details, but say they believe the children are safe. The chief medical examiner has not yet revealed Eve's cause of death. One of many questions people here will continue to ponder as they remember a girl now relying on them to find the answers. Federline is being held on a $1 million bond. He won't face a judge until...
He actually took a plea, right? But we're not even there yet. So this guy's locked up. There's not a damn thing he can do about it right now. And rightfully so. When they say that the public's not in danger, screw them. The kids on the bus are in danger, right? Everybody's in danger around this guy. All right, let's get into the search warrant real quick and what they found there. Oh boy, they had to go back and check. And this obviously led to the arrest, but this search warrant sheds light on the investigation of 12-year-old Eve, all right, and her death. Because right now, guys, we're talking about two separate things, right? Imagine we went back to March 18th, 2026, and I tell you, there's this little girl found dead in her room, and we don't know why. Then we come back 2 weeks later, DNA comes back, this man's arrested. What did they arrest him for? And what else did they find? Right? A body of a child in rugs, but yep. And they found other DNA on her. And I'm having a feeling that some of that DNA was coming from those older children. All right. Well, here. Yeah, check this out. Stuff they missed the first time. All right. Now, remember, this all started on March 18th, 2026. Now, the arrest and the charges came on April 2nd, 2026. And that's when this monster, Anthony, was charged with first degree CSAM, basically, and risk of injury to a minor. Then the DNA matched him, and other samples are collected from, I assume, other children or other people in the household. Now let me show you what happened here. So this is New Haven, Connecticut. Newly released court documents are revealing additional details in the investigation of the death of 12-year-old girl found in her Enfield home last month, right? Police were called to, and this is crazy, it's Elm Street. They live on Elm Street, guys, right? Nightmare on Elm Street. Police were called to Elm Street home March 18th for the report of an unresponsive 12-year-old girl. Eve Rogers was found on the floor of the bedroom with lividity, rigor mortis, and blood fluids coming from her nose. Also naked, waist down with a blanket over her lower half. Now, Rogers' stepfather, 39-year-old Anthony Federline, was arrested on April 2nd, which we just talked about a minute ago, right? It goes into detail about his DNA, the arrest warrant. We'll get there. Now, a search warrant obtained by News 8 stated that the authorities have probable cause to believe that there is evidence in that house of a crime of murder to be added to the SA and the risk of an injury to a minor, right? So now they're trying to get another charge, which is the major one here. Federline has not formally been charged with murder at this point in the death of his stepdaughter's case, but the cause of death is still under investigation by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner. Let's take a look at some of the things they took. Guys, once we hear back from law enforcement, I think it's going to be a bigger story than what you think. All right? Because look, check this out. All right. And thank you guys for being here. Hit that like button. Let's get us in the algorithm, huh? All right. What's up, Nevaeh? How you doing? All right. So look at, I wonder what they're going to find. They took from the house, and they give us a list. I like this list. One Amazon tablet, a pink sparkle journal. How many people think that in that journal we're going to find pictures and stories kind of like Maddie used to write? One bottle of RX amphetamine salts containing 18 pills. All right. 1 black tube of Essence Eye makeup, 1 silver HP laptop, 1 white weekly pill organizer, 1 white cylindrical object with pink rubber cover. What the hell is that? Or they found a dildo in there? 1 pink cloth swinging with hook. 1 pink cloth swing with hook. Huh. 1 pair of blue spandex style shorts. 1 pink printed Hello Kitty comforter and bed set. 1 gray and white long body pillow. 1 pair of Hanes pink girls underwear. 1 pink oval shaped pill. 1 white capsule pill, both unmarked. 13 blue capsule pills marked R3060, which you guys know I'm going to look that up, right? Does anyone know what that kind of pill would be? I'm looking it up right now. And then 1 Samsung cell phone, 2 swabs from the lips of Eve, 2 swabs from the wall, and 4 pages titled My Safety Plan and Mood Disorder Questionnaire. Isn't that weird? We're going to get more into it. Roger's mother said that she was last seen the night before, about 10 p.m., 10:30. She stated she was in a room with the door locked, which was not unusual. When she went to wake her up, she was unresponsive around 10 a.m. She became worried, and according to the arrest warrant, that's what happened. She also used a butter knife. We talked about that earlier. According to the arrest warrant, 2 pills were found on the floor near the door in Roger's bedroom. 1 red and pink, and the other one clear with white powder inside. Now, there was another pill that appeared to be aspirin on her desk, the search warrant said. State police assisted local police in executing the search warrant on Tuesday night, which was about 2 weeks after her passing, and officials released their timeline of investigation into Roger's death. Federline is still in custody and being held with the $1 million bond. All right, now we're going to listen to the I want you guys to hear the presser so we can get the real information, even more accurate, and then we move on. There's so much today. All right. No, this is not it. Hold on. Where to go? How you guys doing today? Yes, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Exactly. Enfield Police. There it is. All right. Let's take a look.
Alaric Fox, Alaric Fox. I am the Chief of Police in the Enfield, Connecticut Police Department. Late last night, members of this agency arrested Mr. Anthony Federline of 176 Elm Street here at Enfield under the authority of a state of Connecticut arrest warrant charging him with sexual assault in the first degree and risk of injury to a minor. Mr. Federline is being held on a $1 million court-set bond, and absent making that bond, will be presented in court in Hartford on Monday morning. The circumstances of the arrest and those charges do flow generally from this department's investigation of the death of an individual that occurred a couple of weeks ago back in March at this same location. The arrest warrant and the information contained in the arrest warrant has been made available to all of your organizations. As you certainly understand, there are certain statements or certain connections that you might wish that, owing to the fact that we're dealing with a juvenile victim here, I may not be able to make those connections for you publicly. This department continues to investigate the underlying circumstances of the underlying death that occurred at that house. And when additional information, if and when additional information is available about that passing, that information will certainly be provided to you, passed on to you in the future. I'll certainly answer any questions that I can within the confines of the provisions of state law, as well as the—
Yeah, let's see what he has to say, because this answers a lot of things for us that haven't been answered, right? There should be no bond. I absolutely agree. And I bet you they're going to take the bond away once they charge him with the capital murder charge. Hey, Lori, I'll have to replay live later to watch from the beginning to catch up. What's going on? Well, you should hang out with us anyway. Cat in the bush in the shadows. Hi. Everyone's very kind and welcoming here. So welcome. Thank you for the beautiful message you sent me a moment ago. I appreciate it. All right, let's listen to what happened here.
The integrity of the investigation.
Chief, when we talk about the sexual assault kit that was
Right.
Mentioned in the arrest warrant, it had mentioned that there were a couple forms of DNA. Could you
Connecticut.
just briefly describe how many individuals we could be talking about aside from Federline?
Yeah, that would be speculation on my part, and I wouldn't want to lead you or your viewers to a place where I couldn't be certain about that information. I certainly can comment generally that the work that's done in the sexual assault kit, and certainly the forensic analysis that's done by the folks at the forensic science lab, the toxicology lab, are of the highest integrity, and we do rely to a significant degree on the information that was provided by them in this investigation.
Obviously, there are a couple different parts of the investigation that are ongoing. In the arrest warrant, again, it talked about investigator Di kind of pausing everything once she became aware of the circumstances at that house in the morning. Is that something, could you say, paused almost the autopsy because this unveiled itself? Is that why the autopsy is taking maybe a little bit longer?
Well, the autopsy was not delayed. I think what you're referring to were observations from the scene, which caused the need for a further assessment at the scene as to what it was that we had. And as I mentioned when we met the last time we were together, the abundance of caution search warrant approach that was taken.
And I'm glad that they did that extra step. I'm glad that someone stepped in and didn't just pull a Sandra Birchmore, which, by the way, guys, I'm going to cover. If you know anything about the Sandra Birchmore case, it's kind of like the Ellen Green case, right? Ellen Greenberg, or what is her name? That they claim that she unalived herself. Well, they said that with Sandra Birchmore as well. And come to find out, it was a officer and several officers assaulting a minor young lady. All right. Jamie's in the house. Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it. Good to see you here. All right. You guys are talking about the pills. Thank you. All right.
On that day, I'm grateful that any of us, when we're confronted with a situation of magnitude where we might not be certain of the answer, that we all are well advised to slow the pace down and to proceed cautiously. But I do not believe that the post-mortem examination that was done unto itself was slowed down in any appreciable way.
Yes.
What is the status of the other children in this family? Are they safe? Have they remained safe throughout this greater investigation?
Yeah, I certainly, I'm not in a position to give details onto or as to any other children that are present or who might be involved. But I would say generally that we are well aware of and work very well with our partners from Town Social Services and State Department of Children and Families. I have every confidence that the children are in good, safe, and appropriate places.
As far as your detectives and officers,
And guys, I do have a feeling that this case is going to open up something much bigger than we all know right now. All right. The fact that they've got more DNA that doesn't match the father, but are other male DNA fluids. And I hope that you receive the membership. If I gifted, I hope you want one. Turn the gifting on, girl. Member for 21 months, and she's going to use her member for 21 months to say, go vote for her peanut. Double votes today. All right, let's continue.
Most difficult part of working this case. Can you read through the document that's really disturbing?
It's very
Oh, she
disturbing.
got
And I'm
one.
very grateful every
Yes.
day, whether it's the folks from the Central District Major Crime Squad that came out that helped us at the scene, the quality first responding officers that went to that scene, our partners from Enfield Fire Department and EMS, or the intractable, constant quality effort, especially when the bell rings, to use the proverb, from Detective Division personnel, that they are able to set the emotions that all of us experience in difficult cases aside and focus on getting to the goal line. I thank you for that question, and I express our gratitude to Fire, EMS, the State Police, the Forensic Science Lab, and certainly I very much to the men and women that I have the pleasure to work with.
Obviously, you read this, and this is kind of going off of that. It's heavy. How have you made sure looking over the department that you've kind of been there to support some of these graphic details that your officers and detectives are dealing with?
Yeah, that is thankfully not a thing that, and it certainly is done on a minute by minute, day by day basis when one is in the throes of one of those sorts of cases. But the best way to address those concerns is to constantly ensure that the officer's mental health and well-being is always a priority. And I'd like to think that I'd like to think the balance of law enforcement, certainly in the state, always prioritizes that through check-ins and support services and EAP programs and the myriad of resources that we try to make available to people. Again, I thank you for that question as well.
Yes.
Do you know if police have ever
Ask
been called to
questions.
that house before?
There's, yeah, not in an appreciable way. I certainly don't want to get into anything that might compromise the investigation, but there's nothing that I think that you would find to be the knockout punch sort of prior response, so to speak.
Oh, I'm sure, guys, they're going to find all kinds of stuff on those electronics. And I'm so glad that you, Cat in the Shadows, came out from the bushes and got gifted a membership. Trust me, you're going to want the membership because we do lots of giveaways. And, well, it's just cool to be a part of the membership, Guilty of Crime crew. All right? But, yeah, we give things away all the time, including memberships. All right?
A message for the community as they're starting to learn the details of this case?
So the first part of it goes back to what you mentioned a moment ago. We recognize these cases are difficult for everyone, including the broader Enfield community. And in terms of the broader Enfield community, there are an abundance of resources that are available through partners in town, through the school system for children that might be impacted to try to ensure everyone's well-being, everyone's mental health. But I would also share with the community that this is not an instance where there is a specific safety concern that I feel that anyone needs to be overly focused on. Certainly, if anyone does have any specific areas of inquiry or concern.
What do you mean there's nothing to focus on? Are you kidding me right now? What is he even talking about? This monster's driving the bus for 2 weeks after this. More people are indicated that haven't been even looked into or named at this point. And this has been happening for quite some time, I'm sure. Nobody's in danger, guys. And notice I'm holding my giant potato, which is another potato, Jen Soto. This is another one, in my opinion. I want to know what Eve Rogers' mom did to help other than just victim blame, in my opinion, right? What is he even talking about?
They're always welcome to reach out to the police department for aid, for assistance, but this is more of a specific situation than a generalized situation that might cause undue stress within our town.
You think?
Chief, do we know what those pills were that were found? If this girl had been prescribed anything specific?
Certainly, that'll be part of what we continue to work on. Yes.
We're talking about it right now. Toxicology.
Well, that is certainly a significant piece of what we're waiting on. That and the work that are being done by my detectives will continue as this matter unfolds. Well, I wouldn't want to speculate one way or the other, but please do know that the detectives are continuing to work this full force and effect. All good. Thank you all.
Now, I bet you we're going to find some really crazy CSAM type of stuff after they go through that. All right. And don't worry, if you came in late, just stay here. We're getting down to, I mean, you guys know how we do here. I'll fill you in. Definitely go back and watch it, but I'd love for you to be here and chat. Now, let's talk about the search warrant and the paperwork for the investigation. And then we're going to get into 12-year-old girl found dead in her room and more details, things that went unnoticed, the sexual assault, what this monster was up to, and all the inner workings of the family. All right, so don't go anywhere. Right after this, we're getting to that.
Police believe evidence of a murder could be inside that home. Your chief investigative reporter, Sam Smink, is joining us now to explain. Sam.
Well, Eve Rogers' stepfather is already charged with sexually assaulting the 12-year-old. But this new warrant our I-team obtained reveals investigators were looking for evidence of not only sexual assault, but murder. A long time to
see, they had to go back to that house, and they were back at the house for several hours. I have some video where they're there all the way from the morning until the night, literally. All right. So yeah, I think Eve's mom had a obligation to protect her daughter. And we saw in her statement that all she did was deflect and make excuses, in my opinion. All right. That just saying, if you missed what her statement was, go back and watch it, or you can read it. I read it at the very beginning. Just a bunch of deflection and excuses.
Detective told us today he believes Anthony Federline will eventually face a murder charge. As the community mourns the death of Eve Rogers, police are hard at work gathering all the evidence they can to discover what really happened inside her Elm Street home. Police filed a search warrant immediately after Eve's mom found the 12-year-old dead in her bedroom on March 18th. That newly released warrant shows police are looking into whether Rogers was murdered. Her stepfather, Anthony Federline, has been charged with her sexual assault after police found DNA on her. We asked retired Hartford Chief of Detectives Brian Foley if the details in this warrant mean Federline could be charged with killing his own stepdaughter.
I absolutely expect that he is the suspect, the known suspect, and will be charged with murder.
But Foley adds that because Federline is already in jail, police have time to build their case and are most likely waiting on autopsy results before filing charges. The medical examiner's office says those results are still pending. During their initial search, police say they found pages from a journal titled My Safety Plan and another titled Mood Disorder Questionnaire. They also found amphetamine pills, which Eve's mom says were prescribed to her. Police did serve 2 additional warrants this week. Foley says new evidence may—
Wow, so 2 more warrants, and that's what I wanted to show you here, was them going in and out all hours of the night. All right, we do not know anything about the biological dad. I didn't even look into that. Tiff, if you're here, my girl Tiff, if you heard anything about the dad, really, I just assumed this woman has a bunch of children, probably different dads. I didn't even check. All I did was look into the biological mom and the monster that allegedly committed these crimes. All right.
They have come to light.
Typically what happens is some things rear their heads during the initial search warrant, and based on what they find in that, now they want to follow up with subsequent search warrants to get additional information.
So it's not uncommon to see multiple search warrants.
Be uncommon not to see multiple search warrants.
These last 2 warrants are sealed. We asked Foley why that may be.
But sensitivity, age of the people involved, and the prevention of destruction of evidence are some of the reasons right off the top of my head.
As for the investigation, Foley says he believes Enfield police have handled this perfectly from the beginning.
What jumped out at me the day that this all happened was the immediacy in which Chief Fox and the Enfield Police Department reached out to the Connecticut State Police Major Crimes Division. In these smaller jurisdictions where they don't have fully developed homicide divisions.
Now, I got to give the people that processed that crime scene, they didn't know it was a crime scene originally, by the way. They just get a call from 911 and mom says she's unresponsive. Now, she didn't see her daughter face down, covered up with pills next to her. Like, what? I think she knew what was going on by her statement alone. I know these guys set out to prey on gullible women with young children. Sultry, that does happen as well. All right. Yes. Just send it to me. Crime Con 2026. I'm still like, I still gotta buy my tickets. It's $800 to $399 for 2 of them. So yeah. All right, let's continue. How the heck did her mom not know? And when she saw her face down with blood coming out, a little bit of her nose and pills around her, what? I can't comprehend this.
Like say in the cities or the state, the sooner that municipality, that smaller police department reaches out to the larger major crimes police department to come in and investigate, the better the results are.
One thing I did notice in Anthony Federline's arrest warrant was a line that said there were 3 DNA contributors found on Eve Rogers' body. Police say one of them is Federline. Foley says the other DNA could point to additional suspects, or there could be an innocent explanation. Enfield police would not comment, calling this an ongoing investigation.
Now, I continue to cover I'm going to continue to cover the case, but as I was looking through and researching this case, people were saying that they think some of the DNA was from her brother. All right. So keep that in mind. This case is probably going to get a lot more coverage once we know what in the hell happened here. All right. All we know thus far is that she was little Eve Rogers, 12 years old, found dead inside of her room. And this guy wasn't arrested for her death. He's not even charged with that at all. All right? But what he is charged with is the CSAM. No innocent. Yeah, there's no innocent explanation. I agree. I think all of this is just a bunch of smoke and mirrors to keep us happy, but there's a lot going on in that household, I assure you, in my opinion.
For me, a lot of you know that I am a feminine main energy.
Just wait until you see what we found out about him when it comes to the life.
He's a feminine main energy. What are you talking about? And then notice his numbers, notice his angel numbers that he tries to get you all hooked into.
Feminine main energy.
Just wait until you see what we found out about him when it comes to the life that he leads online. We're on the case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. All right, hey guys, real quick, I want to talk about this app called Up.
Yeah, no.
It's a YouTube.
All right. So we saw his YouTube earlier, just to fill you in for anybody that came here late. We looked at his stuff earlier. Now we're starting back. So if you missed something, this is going to fill you in. This is the latest.
It's a YouTube channel, and it's one from what we can tell is about like spiritual healing. And he often will give these live stream talks for a half hour, more than an hour, where he is just talking straight. And we're going to dive into a little bit more about what we found out about him in just a moment. But before we do, I want to break down the horror that he is accused of being responsible for. And it surrounds the girl you see here. Her name's Eve Rogers. She was just 12 years old, and she lived with her family in Enfield.
Again, she was a lot older than this picture here. I never know why that happens, but law enforcement is going to have a field day with the electronics. I could see an Oculus right there with the control. They took a laptop, a cell phone. Somebody's going to be in trouble, and it may be a few people in that house.
Connecticut, which is a town about 20 minutes north of Hartford. It's along the Massachusetts border. And Eve's mom says that she was on the autism spectrum and she was homeschooled. Now, Eve lived with her biological mom, as well as her husband, Eve's stepdad, Anthony Federline, and some siblings inside a home in Enfield. On March 18th, that's when this story begins, when this mystery begins. It was just before 10:30 in the morning that police were called to the home.
Dispatch next medic Thompsonville, hot response for a 12-year-old female, unresponsive, not breathing.
Now, according to the arrest warrant that we have on this case, when police get on scene at the family home, they are met by Eve's mom, and she allegedly says that Eve never sleeps in past 10 o'clock in the morning. She's also a pretty light sleeper. So that morning, the morning of the 18th, she got worried when her daughter wasn't up past 10 o'clock in the morning. She said she ended up using a butter knife to open the door, and that is when she found Eve lying face down.
Again, you guys know how my episodes go, so when you come in late, I usually tell you the story. We dig into the images, we talk a little, and then at the end, we do kind of like a recap and we continue to move it forward. So thank you guys for being here. If you came in late, it's okay. You'll get what happened in this case right now. Crime Con is a cash cow, apparently, allegedly. Yeah, I agree. But you know what? It's going to be fun. I'm excited.
On the floor.
Be advised, the 12-year-old was found face down with some blood, believed coming out of the mouth, and she is autistic.
Police say next to Eve, they found...
Remember, they say she's autistic and she was also homeschooled. And very much trigger warning. Thank you, Kel. I appreciate that. Those are a lot. Those signs, guys, we got to watch out for those signs because so many of these cases that I cover with you all are children that are labeled autistic and then homeschooled. And then what happens next? A crime against them. Or they seem to just disappear, right? You know how people disappear, right? They just vanish. I know.
2 pills. One was red or pink, and the other was clear with a white powder inside. At this point, we don't know what those pills are. They also say on her desk, they found a white pill, and that appeared to be aspirin. Now, I will warn you that the next part of this story, it is difficult to talk about.
They say so.
It's graphic, and it has details that are very sensitive in nature. Because police say, as they're now investigating what happened to this 12-year-old girl lying face down on the floor in...
Now, just keep that in mind because we don't know if she was actually diagnosed. We don't have the right to somebody's medical records to say one way or the other. All right. The HIPAA law prevents that. However, people don't walk around showing you a paper saying, my kid's autistic. Here's the paper. If they're saying that she's autistic and then they're homeschooling her, those two things are flags. They've been happening over and over again as we cover these cases. Same circumstances that led up to either death or disappearance. Just watch how it goes. I don't know if she was diagnosed. I have no idea. We won't actually know. But if the parents say it and they treat her that way and they tell the world and they tell you that she is, well, guess what? That's the label she has.
Her bedroom, they say they noticed that she had a blanket around her waist. And when they removed that blanket, they said that she was naked. Police also say that they noticed what could be potential signs of sexual assault. So after gathering all this information, police then decide that they need to do a sexual assault kit on Eve's body. And that kit showed, quote, a mixture of 3 DNA contributors, with at least one of them being male. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about what that potentially could mean in this case, but police have not said whether they are expecting.
I mean, what is that anyway? I'm glad that you put that in there. My pastor calls me Mish because, LOL, he felt the energy. I mean, how opposite of a person can you be? How much of a double life can you really lead? That's like to the fullest. Smoke screens, smoke and mirrors, this guy. All right. He's out there telling the world that he can heal your energy for this much a month and he's going to wait and do this. And he does tarot reading, all to come find out that he was also doing this at the same time. Wow. That's some duality, huh?
More arrests in this case, but they did say this is an ongoing investigation. It is important to note how Eve's stepfather, Anthony Federline, was reportedly acting according to police's account. So the warrant states that when police get on scene, and you just imagine how emotional all of this is, the horror that this family woke up to with this girl who has lost her life lying face down on her bedroom floor. So it's understandable that those emotions would be in the air. And Federline, the stepfather, police say he was allegedly overcome with emotions and he appeared to be angry, and he would allegedly not speak with police because he, quote, asked for space because he wanted to break things.
Wow, this guy's playing it up now, isn't he? I'm sure he didn't want to speak to police because he knows what he can and cannot say. That's a huge red flag. I bet you they just took that red flag and went straight to work. I want to break things. Imagine what he did to that little girl. Imagine what Eve had to go through. All right.
Then, when it came time to give a DNA sample, he consented, but police say he was upset about doing it because, quote, in his words, it felt like putting salt in the wound. So back on March 18th, that's when all of this takes place. Then on April 2nd, the results of the sexual assault kits are returned.
And he's
police
arrested.
say that Anthony Federline, Eve Rogers' stepdad, is a match to one of the DNA samples. This is what Enfield police said in a news conference announcing his arrest for WFSB TV.
Late last night, members of this agency arrested Mr. Anthony Federline under the authority of a state of Connecticut arrest warrant charging him with sexual assault in the first degree and risk of injury to a minor. Mr. Federline is being held on a $1 million court-set bond, and absent making that bond, will be presented in court in Hartford on Monday morning. The circumstances of the arrest and those charges do flow generally from this department's investigation of the death of an individual that occurred a couple of weeks ago back in.
Now, at this point, guys, they're trying to keep things low key and not put out too much information because Eve was a minor, right? So many times when you're researching a case, you can't even find the names. You have to type in like 12-year-old found dead, stepdad arrested, because they don't use the name in it. We're at a point where they are, but not much. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. Well, what's the question, you guys? Another DNA is woman's DNA? I don't think so. I don't think that there was any woman's DNA. I think there was two other contributors that are male, but we'll find out. And like I said, speculation says that it might have been one of her brothers that was doing that to her. All right. Let's go. We saw this already. I don't need to watch that again.
It could go from here. I do want to talk about what we've learned about Anthony Federline.
Hello, Grounded Fire, Soul family, and friends.
So full of
Welcome
shit.
to another Grounded in Mercy Reiki healing session.
So this is.
I want you to look at his eyes and how he talks. Are you guys getting that vibe also? Or are you getting this fantastic aura like Annie Guthrie? Annie Guthrie is such a light worker and blah, blah, blah. I'm not getting any of that from him at all. So if people didn't see through this, I don't know how, but I know there's people that would come to this guy and say, I need healing, or I need to, you know, I need to find my soulmate, or whatever the stuff that is that they do. Very creepy vibe. Yeah, healing session, gross. Definitely a weirdo vibe, that's for sure.
What appears to be his YouTube channel that he runs as someone who is a spiritual healer of some kind. And we actually looked up the website associated with it, and we found that not only does he have the YouTube channel, he has this business where he sells memberships that go for as much as $33.
Look at that. I mean, you know, he's doing that with the spiritual numbers. I mean, this guy is just a piece of work. A magician's apprentice, $22.22 a month. Deep dive deeper into the mysteries with the magician's apprentice tier. Embrace the magic and take your spiritual practice to the next level. This guy's a piece of work, huh? Odin's Phoenix Circle. Only $33.33 a month, so you can rise up through Odin's Phoenix Circle and be reborn with wisdom and power. What is up with this, man? Oh, but for $4.99, he forgot all about the angel numbers on this one. He just said, let's just make it an even $4.99. Your first step into me playing you. $4.99, I'll trick you all you want and make you get into the 22 or 33 category. How about that? This mofo, man.
And 33 cents a month, promising, quote, you'll soar on wings of transformation and divine connection. It also says, quote, we offer online tarot readings, astrology-based purpose and direction sessions, shadow work guidance, chakra check-ins, and energy healing for people who want clarity, self-understanding, and something deeper than surface-level answers. Federline also reportedly worked as a public school bus driver, specifically employed by a third-party company for the last 6 months, according to NBC Connecticut. He's been fired from that job in the wake of his arrest.
Yeah, but he wasn't fired for those 2 weeks that he was running around. Welcome, bratty little me, to the official Crime Crew membership. Thank you. I do appreciate that, you guys. Jay, you have me cracking up. You know, I don't know why you guys always think I'm so funny, but hey, whatever gets you through this, you keep coming back, all right? Yeah, this is a con artist. My girl Tiff says, check your email. Bish. Is that an order? Yes, ma'am.
Now, the bus company says that he was properly vetted for that job, and a background check didn't turn up anything concerning that would have led them to believe that he would be capable of what he's now accused of. Now, again, Eve Rogers not just was someone who lived with Anthony Federline, she also lived with her siblings, and she also lived with her biological mom. Eve Rogers' biological mom told CT Insider, quote, I was not aware of any of these allegations, and
I think that she's absolutely lying. And thank you, Tiff. Tiff just sent me the father. Your sarcasm's on point all the time. I do have sarcasm down. I'll give you that much. But let me show you real quick the actual father. This is Eve's dad, and it's real dark, but you can see that's Eve's father. You can kind of get a sense of his face, right? How he looks. So there's a biological father. He lives in Washington. I don't know the full story, but I do know that he's got a little bit of criminal traffic record, maybe. Robert Rogers is the dad. That's funny. It says Aptos, California, but it also says Washington. He's an individual wanted by HHS. prohibition, restriction, reciprocal. So I don't know exactly what that is or what's happening here, but yeah, that's what we're looking at right now, and that's the dad. I don't want to have your stuff up. My bad. All right, that's it. That's him. All right, let's continue. Thank you, Claw. You're being amazing. I love seeing you in chat. You know, when you're not here, I'm like, where's Like, at least I know you're in the bushes usually. Love you from all of us, all the guilties, all right? Please put this towards a couple of mentorships. Love you. Okay, right? We're not going to be mentoring anything from this guy, all right? Even though there's a $9.99 there, not a $3.33 or a $4.44. We're going to meander into mentorships. All right, let's continue. We're going to go back into that, and I will give some mentorships or memberships, whatever you prefer. All right. Oh, wrong one. And let's get back to this. All right. This statement right here is a gut punch for me. When I read this statement from her mom, and especially the fact that we haven't seen her mom outright speak or say anything, what she's saying, quote unquote, seems pretty disturbing, like she knew and she just wants them to go away. I was not aware of any of these allegations, and I'm still trying to understand what's happening. I'm allowing the legal process to unfold. Oh, yeah? You didn't do your daughter's clothes and check her underwear? She wasn't going to see a doctor? What? What do you mean you're waiting for the legal process to unfold? Right. That gotta be. Exactly. Another Jen soda. And that's why we have a giant potato waiting at all times, because there's so many potatoes. I have a potato there. I have little potatoes, big potatoes. And then, you guys, if you didn't take your meds, take your meds. Right? Yeah, allowing the legal process to unfold my ass. All right, hit that like button. Let's get this in the algorithm, my friends.
I'm still trying to understand what's happening. I'm allowing the legal process to unfold. Now, as far as what went down in court on Monday, again, police said that Federline was slated to face a judge. We were told that cameras would not be allowed in the courtroom to tape that first court appearance, his arraignment, because this is a case involves a victim that is young. Eve Rogers was just 12 years old. Federline was being held on $1 million bond, and we're still waiting on information on his arraignment at the time of this recording. It's also unclear at this point what Eve Rogers' cause of death is. Law enforcement say they're still waiting on toxicology results, so it's unclear how that.
It is really weird, and it has been since March 18th, 2026. I mean, that's not that long, but they've got to have something by now, right? I wonder what the cause of death is going to be. I'm going to just take a long shot here that it might be an overdose with the way they said maybe blood in her mouth and her nose. I didn't hear anything about strangulation marks, or it could be asphyxiation or suffocation on top of the pills that she was taking. Maybe they gave her pills that slow her heart down and then she was suffocated, but we just don't know yet. And I'm really surprised, because once they do know, this guy's going to be charged to the fullest. Good to see you, Carly. How you doing? Justice for Eve. Yes.
That could impact this case going forward. But there's no doubt that many people are remembering a girl whose life was lost too soon. This girl is described in her obituary as someone who, quote, felt deeply, loved fiercely, and saw things in a way that made people stop and think. She had a passion for animals, especially cats, and a heart that extended far beyond herself. She cared about justice, about people, about the world as a whole.
That's her obituary. How sad is that, right? And I didn't realize that thank you, Tiff, her bio dad, Robert Rogers, is wanted. That's what that is. He's on the watch list from Washington, and he's full on wanted. Indy Isha, my girl, much love to you. I sent you an email the other day, but then I also have I have 10,000 emails to delete and go through. So I don't know if you messaged me back, but thank you, love. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And Lisa, thank you for being a member for 14 months. Carly's in the house. I love when Carly's in the house. All right. Another Jen Soto, Carly.
She stood up for what she believed in, even at a young age, and carried a sense of empathy that was both powerful and rare. Joining us now to talk more about this case is retired detective commander with the Chicago Police Department, Will Spilar. Thanks for being here. I know this story, often in true crime stories are not easy to talk about. This is certainly one of them. What stood out to me reading the arrest warrant is how Federline allegedly acted.
Yes, we're going to be covering that tomorrow. David was arrested, guys. The D4 VD. Yes, and yes. Flojo, are you covering that tonight? Because I'm all over that tomorrow. Flojo says David was arrested. You guys go sub up to his channel. Yes, I've been waiting for that. I did not want to do an update until he was arrested because it's just all bunch of speculations. I'm so glad. All right. Her bio dad's on the run and they're looking for him in Washington. Yes, that is good news. Thank you. All right. Patricia, our girl's in the house. I also posted the Evite to the Bellagio guilty of crime party inside the chat. So go up and RSVP if you want to go. Welcome in, Patricia. Welcome in. All right. Link, please. The link is pinned at the top, but I can certainly put it in again.
See, seems like he needed space. He didn't want to give an interview because he was so angry. He wanted to break stuff, police say. Then he's giving his DNA sample and he says this is like salt in the wound. You're an investigator on scene and you're piecing together what happened to this 12-year-old girl. How does the body language like that, things that he's saying, impact the way you're viewing the scene around you as you're trying to gather information?
So initially, when you go into a scene and you're there with the witnesses, people maybe who even discovered the body, you don't know how people are going to react. Some people react very violently when somebody's hurt that they know or somebody's killed that they know. Some people are sad, withdrawn. So you don't draw immediate conclusions when you come in because you just don't know how people are going to react to tragedy. But in a situation like that, if it continues and it just doesn't seem appropriate, you know what I mean? Like appropriate to the situation. If it seems like possibly this is something that's out of character, if there's other family members around saying, man, he doesn't usually act like this.
This is crazy. He's completely just living double life. Now, right after you said that, Flojo, I get a breaking news from SF Investigate. Some of you guys like him, some of you don't. Finally, D4VD or David has been arrested. And guess what, guys? He was arrested for the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. It appears he was not indicted, but rather arrested by the LAPD, and charges will be sent to the district attorney by Monday for formal charging. We're all over that. Hashtag Celeste Rivas Hernandez. More to come. I'm so glad that I've been covering that case as well. Thank you for letting us know that as well, Flojo. That's great news. Great news. Hold him accountable.
Or she doesn't usually act like this. Then you start paying more attention to it. You never discount what you initially encounter, but you also have to, let it play out. See if it continues. See if there's anybody else that are saying, hey, you know what, this isn't right. Something's not right here. So you definitely look at it.
And it is someone's right. If they don't want to talk to the police in that situation, I get it. But it's also like you sit there and maybe in 2020 hindsight, knowing what he's now accused of, you would think that he would want to talk to the police. It was like to tell you, oh, I can't talk because I need some space. And it's like, well, your stepdaughter is dead. Like, don't you want to know
what happened
to her, or at least help in figuring out what that is? And here's her biological mom, who it seems did cooperate with law enforcement, and yet the stepdad didn't want to talk.
Well, right. And you think about, yes, absolutely. You'd want to know exactly what happened, or if you could.
And now maybe the mom had a woman's intuition, a mother's intuition, and she ignored it. Who knows? All right. Good afternoon, guilty of crime. Hello, cooking with Mr. Good Looking, Alex. What's up? Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for coming in. Say a prayer for Eve. She gets the justice she deserves.
Try to help and figure out what happened. But the whole You know, it's kind of like when you get that type of reaction that we saw with this guy, you think, why is he acting like that? Is he acting like this because he doesn't know how to deal with it? Or is he acting like this because he feels some kind of responsibility?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
angry about his involvement in this.
He's an
So
angry
that goes back to
pedo.
your first comment is, as it plays out, yes, you start looking into that type of behavior. And, you know, why is he acting like that? Is it because he's angry, upset that this is something that he may have caused or contributed to?
And it seems from reading the warrant that
he's probably upset that he lost his play toy, in my opinion. Now, if this isn't some kind of asphyxiation or something directly related to somebody doing something to her, and it comes back that it's in the toxicology that she OD'd or what have you, then I'm sure he was pissed, right? He doesn't want to rub salt into his wound that his play toy is now gone. He doesn't have her anymore. And if you look at the pictures of this monster Anthony, you look at his Facebook and he's got a pic, even on this one, he's got a picture of Eve right there. Now we can see how little she was from the time he was starting to groom her. You guys, I think more people need to know about the grooming process, because not only do children get groomed, but people get groomed, moms get groomed, parents get groomed. When you got some character at the church that, I just want to help the children, let me take them on a retreat or any of that shit, right? Question it, double question it, because this guy was definitely living a dual life, all right? But please, I don't know if Anthony groomed her specifically to get to Eve. If there are other victims, there probably are. He's just an evil pedo. He wants to be more, but he's not. Yeah, the grooming is sneaky, calculated, and manipulative. And it can, Andrea and everybody else, it can pattern a parent that's just being good and being nice. All right. I mean, you know, it's with my children, it's constant like, oh, we go this, we go shopping, we do this, we buy that. But that's genuinely my way of showing love. There's people that show love with gifts. All right. But you got to be able to start looking and seeing through these people. We have to look closer and we have to do better. All right. And I'm not, of course, saying anyone, I'm just saying everybody needs to do better. All right. Good to see you, No Shoot Vaccine. Jay's doing God's work, spreading awareness. Thank you. I wish. I mean, that'd be nice. As long as we have God and we have our spirituality, then we always will be taken care of. Remember that. We got to do better about grooming, man. These people are doing it too often, and nobody's seeing it. Right. It doesn't sound like they actually did anything. All right. Oh, sorry about that. You're right. Since that happens sometimes when all right, all he asks is what about what can they do when he's on the run? There we go. Thank you.
You know, here he is, he gives his sample.
It's on, guys.
And then, you know, you're unsure, you know, how it's going to come back, but you might be, you know, at least thinking of him as a suspect potentially.
No, you guys got to remember now when StreamYard has a lot of cool functionalities to it, but I'm also learning them. So when I'm talking to you guys, I can just pop this right up, pop it back on, and press play on that. But I just, you know, I'm getting used to it. So bear with me. It's not muted. When I change that screen and I'm playing it from behind, you can't hear it, or this screen. All right. So I'll get it down, guys. It's okay. Ambient abuse is covert and stealth. By the time you figure out what's happening, it's too late. The damage is done. Well, we're a lot smarter than that, and we're a lot more educated on this subject than ever before, than we ever have been before. So now that we know, we need to start doing better, all of us. Thank you, Synth. I appreciate that. All right. let's get back to this.
Like, what happens over those weeks to make sure that maybe he doesn't do something else or make a run for it? I guess, how do you handle that period of time it takes for the evidence to come back?
So I don't know how long it took in this case, but I can tell you how it works with us. If you have a DNA profile that's been established from a sex kit, and now you have a DNA profile that you're taking a sample for, a buccal swab probably in this case, and then you have to get that DNA profile established. So you take the sample, you get the profile established, now you make a direct comparison. That can take a matter of days. It doesn't necessarily take weeks, because you're not like putting it into CODIS and hoping for a hit to come out. This is direct comparisons. You get the sample.
And good night, Kathy. Glad you're here. Always a pleasure to see you. Sadie's mom is throwing down the avocado time.
You establish the profile, and now you match it with the profile you've established from the post. So it could have only taken a few days. It didn't necessarily have to take weeks. Again, I don't know what lab they use, but we could do that in, sometimes 36 hours if we have direct comparison. But as far as how do you keep an eye on them? I mean, unless you have a reason to hold him, you can keep them under loose surveillance.
Yeah, there's the thing is they didn't have anything to charge anybody with until they got the DNA, and then they were able to hold him on those charges with the high bond. Now, once he formally is charged with capital murder, they may just take that bond away. All right. I hope they do, and I hope he doesn't get out.
But you certainly can't. It's not like you can post somebody with him.
Right. And
Wyatt,
you just
what's up,
wonder,
buddy?
what's
Where you
going through
been?
his mind as he gives this sample, and we'll see how he's doing court today in Connecticut. There aren't a lot of cameras in the courtroom, so we'll see what the report is that's coming out of it. He's being held on $1 million bond. There is part to this, and this is not an easy part of the arrest warrant to talk about, but there were multiple contributors. Assuming 3 contributors were the juvenile victim, with this victim. I mean, does that potentially mean that?
I really hope that mom's not more involved in it than we think. I really do. Because I'm imagining those samples taken from the victim were in the regions that are no-nos, right? The area that they covered up when she was passed out. Now, they covered her up, which is wild because she was face down and they put a towel over her. I really doubt she did that to herself. I feel like when they came in the room and they found her like that, they covered her up, or whoever did something to her covered her up, because you can't be face down dead and then cover yourself up from behind. Just a thought. Welcome in, Wyatt. Everybody's happy to see you. It says, beautiful Jay, I'm watching you and I know how it is at the beginning of your channel and how you are now. You just get better and better. Well, thank you. You have been here for a long time, right? You've been here forever. And yeah, we learn and we grow, right? All right. Openly avoidant. Is this guy who had a... Yes, it is openly avoidant. Yes, it is. It's a guy who had a YouTube channel that it wasn't that odd about the channel. What was odd was how he was expressing it, and it's just not believable. This guy had a YouTube channel calling himself an energy healer, a tarot reader, etc. All right. Crime Con, I'd like to buy your book with the signature. Yes, you're going to be in Vegas, the boss bitch? Yes, I got to order some tomorrow because I need to have them. All right, let's continue. Thank you.
There's more than one person who will end up being accused of sexual assault of this young girl.
Yes.
Good night, Amy.
That's what it means. And the only reason why you see this charge with this guy is because they know who he is. It's a known sample now because they took it directly from him. The other 2 samples,
what happened?
Probably not from any. Well, definitely not from any samples they took from within that house. So yeah, I would anticipate more charges for sure.
Yeah, and you wonder now. I mean, what type of conversations are you going to have with Anthony Federline if you're an investigator? How is that potentially leveraged for you if you're trying to figure out who these other people are? I mean, certainly you have him, and we'll see what his defense is. But I mean, how do you communicate with him now? How does that work to see if you can get other names?
Well, again, you advise him. You do the interview. If he wants to talk to you, you definitely come along. You tell him what you have for the most part. Like, listen, it's you and it's 2 other people. What's that about?
Yeah, see, there's his channel, and earlier I played it. All right, I pressed play. It's at Grounded Fire Sanctuary, where he's trying to do tarot cards and Reiki. All right, this guy's full of shit. That's all I could say. And I wouldn't buy it even if I didn't know that he's a pedo and I didn't know about him, he's just not believable. This is not somebody that I see that's, in the light. It just doesn't match. And we hone in on our intuition, guys. The older we get and the more you listen to yourself, the more you listen to those voices that tell you not to do something or to do something, the more in tune that you get with yourself and what you're thinking, how you feel. The fact that it's a big red flag that this guy's a pedo, you see all that the more you hone in. Now, I do anyway, but that's just a word to the wise.
What can you tell us about this? Or, let's not talk directly about you for now. Let's talk about these other two.
Yeah.
So you kind of try to bring it in that way if you can, but it's going to be difficult, especially if you lawyers up, forget about it. I mean, then you're just going to have to hope for the best and do background investigations into who his associates are. Maybe there's other people you can interview based on that to see if you can figure out who these other two contributors are, or you definitely put them in a CODIS and see if they have any hit in CODIS.
Yeah, looking back,
I love that. Full disclosure, I signed up for his channel. I subbed to his channel, Mystic Artistry North. You know what? His channel only had 86 followers, so I'm glad. Cooking with Mr. Good Looking. What do you mean? What about you? Hi, Alex. It's always a pleasure to see you, man. I know you're looking for the ladies, right? Ladies love when you cook for them. There you go. Yeah, gives bad vibes a few out there lately. I agree. Trust that feeling. Trust your gut, all right? If you feel like something's wrong, just go with it.
Back at the scene and where this young girl's body was found, and there are these two pills. One appeared to be Advil, I believe, on a desk, but then there are these two other pills. And there's not a lot of other details than that. I mean, what does a toxicology test do? I know it's going to bring the results and see what was in her system at the time of death, but what specifically are you looking for in a toxicology test that could help us figure out what the cause of death is?
So if you're looking for, like you said, for cause of death, we obviously didn't find one on initial post. You didn't find one for like a strangulation or blunt force trauma or something of that nature. Penetrating injuries, gunshot wounds. None of that was present.
Nope.
So when you do toxicology, what you're looking for is a toxic amount of a substance that would cause death. So it's not just the substances that are in their bodies. Is it a toxic amount,
Definitely.
or is it a combination of two drugs that could have caused a death because they had some kind of interaction? So you're looking for cause of death based on the chemical component that's in her body.
Because the other part that I wonder is she's 12 years old. She's apparently on the autism spectrum, but her mom would say that she would listen to music, watch TV. How does someone get those types of substances? If those are the substances that ended up taking her life, you're figuring it out. Like, how would she get them? And then, certainly I know she is someone who's been.
And I hope they do not try to pull some BS by saying that she unalived herself, that she OD'd, because that happens far too often. All right. I'm going to tell you in the Sandra Birchmore case, if you don't know about that, well, you're going to know about it soon, because that is a crazy case. I can't even believe how they could have got to that point of her taking her own life. But I guess I do realize that the person responsible was a police officer, and then several other police officers. Sandra Birchmore was underage, having sex with several police officers. I want you to realize that. All right, let's continue. That's crazy. I know she didn't. The case it's flipped since the beginning, and she was having sex allegedly with several officers. Yep, they all groomed her. I agree.
Going through trauma, but just like at that age, how does all of that kind of factor into this investigation, knowing that she had a disability, knowing that she's incredibly young? I guess how does that factor into, if you're a detective on this, you're thinking about as you're kind of building your case, not just against Federline, but against somebody else if they get arrested?
You talk about, if this person is on the spectrum, and the spectrum is very broad. We don't know if it was profoundly handicapped or not, or if they were just functioning on the spectrum, which a lot of people do. There's people that are prescribed drugs. People get prescribed drugs all the time for certain things. I don't know if she had any other medical maladies that would require medication, but toxic amount of prescription drugs will kill you as well. What are the people taking in the house? Is this something that other people who are on medications in the house? People get drugs from everywhere. I don't know if she's social in the street, if she has visitors come in who knows?
Now, I do have a feeling it's going to come back and the cause of death is going to be an overdose of some sort. Yeah, Joanne, I've been following this case at least for 2 weeks, and I've been hoping to cover it. And today's the day. I had a free spot, and I said I'm going to take that. Was she the one who was married, and he had a wife who was pregnant? No, it's not openly avoidant. There's nothing. No, he didn't have a wife that was pregnant. This is none of that. It's this couple right here. You see, there's her mom, and there's her stepdad with the beard. There's mom and stepdad. That's it. That's all. This guy was pretending to be a spiritual entity or leader, and he was far from that. Instead, he was on a regular basis, in my opinion, CSAMing that little girl. All right. Yeah, no, not that one. Not at all. All right, let's continue. There's so many cases. It's hard to keep them straight, right?
But where she gets the drugs is part of the investigation as well. But she could have been prescribed them and just took a toxic amount, if in fact that's the case.
He is Federline is charged with a very serious offense of first-degree sexual assault, without a doubt. But you have this girl who ends up losing her life. If it turns out that she took those pills, maybe he didn't have anything to do with that. I mean, could he face more charges? Because this is not just a case of a sexual assault. I mean, this young girl.
Oh, they better.
Well, the cause of death, right now we don't have a cause or manner. I mean, the cause of death is obviously what killed her. The manner is how she was killed. In a situation like this, we're talking about maybe it's going to be acute, whatever, intoxication that causes death. Manner of death, suicide. Manner of death, accidental.
That sucks.
Manner of death, homicide.
I
All
hope
that matters with additional.
At least if they say manner of death, homicide, and it's not completely, focused, they can get to that point and they can get a grand jury to indict him on capital murder charges. All right. That's where we are, because nobody's been charged for this. It's not considered a homicide or a crime at this time. Thank you, Synth. Jay's the best from your favorite mod. I can't wait to hang out with y'all in Vegas. I bet you're going to be a riot, Synth. All right. Again, she's a lot older looking when she passed away than she was here.
Charges. Now, you talk about, did he contribute to her death, or is he responsible for her death? Maybe that sexual assault caused her to do what she did, if in fact that's the way it goes.
Yep.
Or maybe she's trying to self-medicate.
Yep.
So unless you can say he gave her a toxic amount of this drug, though, that charge, it'd be awful hard to charge him with a murder or homicide.
And we end up finding his YouTube page, and it's like a business. He also has as well kind of this like spiritual healer. I don't know much about that world, but what do you take away from? I don't know how much of that specifically is a contributor to what he's now accused of, but this is someone who goes on social media, talks about how you can better your life, almost speaks as if he's the person coming from like, let me advise you on your life and how things are going to be better. And yet he's the person accused of just an absolutely horrible crime. I mean, how often is...
All right. I hope your membership gifting is on, guys. I'm going to gift one more before the end of this, and we're coming up on that. I'm not sure if I can cover Michaela tomorrow, to be honest with you. I don't know. I'm not even sure what that case is right now, but if you would send me an email, that would be awesome. guiltyofcrimebyj@gmail.com, because my mind is escaping me on that name, Michaela. I'm not sure what that case is. All right. And that's the thing, is I really wanted to cover David, although if nothing comes out more than just the arrest, then I might wait until next week when it all comes out. We'll see. But yeah, send me an email. Right. And I hope somebody got the membership that wanted the membership. All right. Did you get that membership, openly avoidant? Because I didn't see you had one earlier. I saw you in black. Now you're in green. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, there you go. There you go. I just don't know. I can't picture the Michaela case. What is that? I don't know who it is right off the top of me. Membership, God bless me. Yeah, I'll do another one here in a bit.
Someone like this, facing charges like this, doesn't seem to have a record, was a bus driver, went through the vetting process for a public school system bus driver. Nothing came up there, apparently, according to the bus company. Like, how often do people like this, accused of the worst crimes you can think of, really just do it under the radar with no history whatsoever? I mean, this guy's in his, was he 39? So it's not like he's someone who's just someone who, you know, could have a criminal record. I mean, he's been, you know, over the age of 21, over the age of 18 for a long time.
Yep.
Chris, all you got to do is go into any one of the streaming video channels and look at these cults, these cults that they're spiritual, and then you find out they're doing sex with underage children, and they believe it to be okay because of their religion or spiritual beliefs. So I don't want to knock spirituality. I don't want to knock any people that are trying to get, you know, healthy based on using their own mind and things like that. But just look at
now. Listen, guys, he only literally had 88 followers, I believe. I was on the page a second ago. Grounded Fire Sanctuary on YouTube. Now, I did subscribe as well, so I can come back to it, but this guy had 89. It's gone up 89 subscribers and 67 videos. And he claims that it's a space for grounding. His YouTube channel is to ground you and support your energy and your nervous system regulation. Do you guys think that he was grounding his wife and grooming her into what he was doing? He says that he focuses on intuitive energy work, chakra awareness, grounding practices, tarot, and messages that support balance and integration. The work here is not about performance or prediction. It's about slowing down and settling the system and reconnecting with a sense of stability and presence. This guy is so full of shit. It hurts to even see that.
any streaming video, you'll find 5 different specials on how these people that they, under the guise of helping yourself spiritually, people get involved with them, and then you see these terrible crimes happen within these cults, I guess you would call them.
Yeah. And it just, you know, it always just shocks me when it's like, here's this person who, you know, and again, these are all accusations. We'll see how the legal system plays out. But this was the person who was, you know, a business to tell you how to live your life better. And yet
I did one already. I'm going to do another. The $9.99 super chat is actually not $9.99. It's 30% off. So it's like $7, and 2 memberships cost $8. So yes, I did one for Clar, and then we're going to go into the, at the end of this, I want you guys to see her memorial, and then I'll gift another one at the end. I got you, Sin. Thank you for reminding me. I know what's up. Sometimes I forget, but I didn't this time. Thank you.
You know, you read through this arrest warrant and you were like, what a monster. If this is all,
is
all true.
Yes.
Will Spivak, retired detective commander with the Chicago Police Department. Thanks for being with us on this story. Tough case.
Sure.
That will do it for On the Case, presented by Law.
All right. We're going to we're going to just a quick memorial and then the latest update, and I will gift a membership while we're doing the memorial. All right. So we have to say a prayer for Eve. We're here for her. Now, her name's not even in this. When the 12-year-old girl I never met knows what's best for me. All right. And we're talking about Eve here. This is, let's take a look at this. And this is a Board of Education. I didn't see this yet, but I did realize that it was for Eve.
And Mr. Anderson is actually going to lead that tonight.
Hello. It is. Yeah, we're good.
Thank you.
Tonight was supposed to be Phil speaking. I asked if I could say a few words in his place. Thank you for that, Phil. Last Wednesday, we lost a bright young soul with the passing of Eve Rogers. Tonight, I'm wearing this shirt in her memory. Pink and teal were her favorite colors. Although I never had a chance to meet Eve in person, I feel like I knew her well through her mom, Melanie, who I'm proud to call a friend. Melanie and I first started talking during the last election. She had questions and I answered every single one of them with complete honesty, even when I knew she was not going to like the answer. We talked often. We never once argued.
Wow, this is the Board of Education. I'm glad that they did this, and I hope that they start taking more notes and paying attention to children that are homeschooled. Like I said, just days before Eve's passing, they did change the law to make it so that families that do homeschool aren't just getting away with anything and everything. And yes, Jen's a gypsy. I never see you get gifted. I'm so happy that you got a gifted membership. Thank you. All right, let's continue. I didn't mean to put that back up, but let's finish.
When we didn't agree, we listened to each other with respect and talked. Eve knew about our conversations, and she loved that her mom and I could disagree without fighting, something that she didn't often see on TV or online. There was something else that Eve knew about me that very few people know, including everybody on this board. Like Eve, I'm autistic.
He's autistic.
And she thought it was sad that I kept it hidden. I had my reasons, of course. But sometimes the clear, honest perspective of a 12-year-old girl cuts through the baggage that we adults carry. So tonight, Eve, this one's for you. I know you're watching over your family, and I hope you'll check in on me from time to time. Now let's take a moment of silence for Eve Rogers. You are a loved, sweet girl.
Let's just take a moment of silence because I'm going to tell you something. Take a moment of silence for Eve. Say a prayer. She gets the justice she deserves. And that medical examiner doesn't rule it self-inflicted, because I got to tell you, those pills that were around her seemed a bit staged. Like someone made her take them, and then after she passed, they kind of put them around so law enforcement would be like, oh, we should test for this. Because I just looked up the pill that I was telling you about earlier that said R3060, and that's an amphetamine, dextroamphetamine, extended release, 20 milligrams. Blue capsule shaped pill has been positively identified as amphetamine. All right. It's 20 milligrams blue, extended relief. It's a pretty decent size, but it just seems really staged. Now, that medication is used for ADHD, right? Any kind of attention deficit or hyper activity disorder and narcolepsy. All right. It's a Schedule 2 stimulant. So I'm going to guess even further that the toxicology is going to say an overdose. But what matters is that they call it a homicide and not self-inflicted. All right, let's continue.
And you'll be deeply missed.
This is the moment of silence.
And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance.
All right, we're not going to listen to that. May she rest in peace. This little angel was gone way too soon. All right, and last but not least, so we're going to do a complete recap of what happened today, and you'll know what's going to happen next. So if you go back to do the rewatch crew, you will find out all the other little details. If not, and you're just watching now, I will continue to add to this playlist called Eve Rogers. Okay, so here's the 1,000-foot view of this case where we are, and what's next is to get an indictment for murder out of this guy. All right, and look down here. Let me make that bigger because that's the picture I showed you earlier. She looks much different there than she does there. Right? This is more about the age that she looks. She's bigger, taller. We saw her in comparison to the boys on the social media. All right, let's continue.
New developments have emerged. We're finding out that her 39-year-old stepfather, Anthony Federline, was actually taken into custody and arrested. Police confirmed that Federline was taken into custody on April 2nd, 2026, after an arrest warrant was issued. He's facing 2 serious charges. first-degree SA, and risk of injury to a child. At the moment, it's unclear if these charges are directly related to Eve or if Eve's death investigation has somehow led investigators to uncover allegations involving someone else. Federline is currently being held on a $1 million court-set bond and is scheduled to appear in court for his arraignment on Monday, April 8, 2026 in Hartford, Connecticut. Authorities say that right now they cannot release certain details due to the integrity of the case, but they have confirmed that Eve's cause and manner of death are still pending. Authorities stated that the medical examiner's investigation is still open and it could take weeks for results to be completed and released. Based on their findings, additional charges could be filed. This is definitely not looking good, but of course, as more information and clarity comes out, you'll be able to find it all here on my page, so make sure you're following me.
Now, listen, Matt Thibodeau, awesome. You guys should always go sub up to that guy because he gives you the 1,000-foot view in like a minute and a half, which is awesome. All right, now we're going to continue. Kimberly Cunningham, yeah, I mean, that, how can a mother not protect her baby? Well, you did watch the Madeline Soto case here, didn't you? That's how, Jen Soto. These women get comfortable in their settings with these men that come off as a knight, a white knight, or a knight in shining armor, and they're giving the kids gifts and the moms, and they're grooming, and then you put your guards down and that happens. But I think the mom knew more than she is saying. Did they say how many she had taken? We have no idea about how many she took because all we heard was at the scene, which has not even been a crime scene yet. They are not calling her death a crime at this point. There was pills around here in a staged manner. In my opinion, it was staged. So we don't know. What's up? Good to see you, Melissa. Do I get a blanket at 2 years? Oh, girl, I don't do blankets. That's Tiff, and I thought we did. Anyway, I've also been here for 23 months, right? It's been almost 2 years, man. Don't forget to go vote, double vote for her Peanut, since Peanut needs your help. All right, thank you for covering, Jay. Eve was a sweet little girl. You're absolutely right, and she deserves the truth to be told. All right. All right, guys. David is finally arrested. I will be covering that. We'll see how much more comes out tomorrow. But for now, justice for Eve Rogers. You know the drill. I'll be back here tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. So do come back and check out whatever case I cover. I don't know what I'm covering yet, but I'll let you know by tomorrow. All right. Thank you, Brady. I do appreciate that. I just got a haircut yesterday. So when I just get a haircut, it's always like the easiest for me to comb. Otherwise, it's like, just throw a bunch of gel in it and make it look like a mohawk. Bye, guys. Love you. And we will update that soon. And we'll definitely be updating on the David case. But tomorrow, just come back because you love hanging out with Guilty of Crime, and we can have a chat. You always listen, Care Bear, every day. Where are you? I'm in California, and it's 6:08 p.m. here in Cali, and it's 9:08 in the East Coast. So wherever you are, every day, you always catch it at the very end. Well, come earlier. Come earlier and get a gifted membership or a book or something. All right, good night, guys. Love you. And nothing's wrong with her baby. She wants you to vote so she can win. All right, drop that link one more time, Synth, for your little girl, please. All right, have an amazing evening. You too. And I'm glad you got a membership. The jab is always a pleasure. 4 p.m. PST. Set an alarm, baby. Good night, everybody. All right, there it is. She dropped the link. Go vote for her child, Elizabeth Winter Rose Serber. All right. Love you guys. I will see you tomorrow. What is the red picture next to my name? I have no idea. Yes. I'm so excited by that. I can't wait. Tiff, you know what the drill is. Let's get down to it. Let's find out what David did. All right, guys, good night. I love you. And Mama Pearl voted, and hopefully others. I'll get on that right now. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. I'm out.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty?